Hi Vignesh,
Hi, sir.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling excited for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I can sense that since you have converted Bangalore, Calcutta, FMS, and other Lucknow colleges, right?
Yeah,
So just introduce yourself first, then we'll be moving towards the interview.
yeah, sure. So I'm Vighnesh Pai. I was born and brought up in Trivandrum in Kerala.
Mhm.
Completed my schooling from Trivandrum itself, and then I went to pursue mechanical engineering from NIT Calicut. And post which I worked for a brief period of 4 months with Tata Projects. And then I transitioned into GEP, which is a procurement and supply chain consulting firm.
Mhm.
And I worked there for close to 3.5 years. And I worked on different projects like related to sustainability, tariff mitigation, and had like a really good experience with GP. So that's
Okay.
my profile. And I
So
had like a 99.83 in CAT 25.
99.83. So, there is a common perception in this MBA world that more than 3 years of work its disadvantages and so on and so forth. Propaganda, again, we can say that sometimes yes, sometimes a
Yeah.
big no, right? But what motivated you to go towards MBA after around 4 years of experience?
So yeah, first I'll touch upon the myth one. So actually, it's like you said, it's a myth which is propagated, but there is nothing like that. In Bangalore batch, there are people with around 7 years of work experience. So for me, why I choose a 2 year MBA over, let's say, 1 year MBA or do an MBA at all was because I was working with people who graduated from top institutes, like including IIM Bangalore, and I'd seen like what I lack. So I focus on like very small area of a business problem, and I'm not able to like think beyond it or understand different business functions as such. So an MBA was the right path for me to gain like more understanding of, let's say, what is happening in other business function and how a small problem might fit in the overall context.
Mhm. Okay.
Again, a lot of people say that if you have like around 4 year work ex, then it might be a disadvantage in the interview. But only at my IIM Ahmedabad interview, they asked like, would you consider a 1 year MBA? Otherwise, I had like a lot of things to talk about the work I did, so it actually used to my advantage.
All right. Okay. Perfect. So, before delving further, since you are a 99.83 percentile, many people will be watching your interview. Just give them the strategy towards VARC, Quant, and LRDI.
Yeah, so this was my fourth CAT attempt. So by this time, my basics were almost clear, and it was just a few things which were not going well for me. So my strategy was I had purchased around three different mocks by all the leading providers, and I used to write around three mocks per week, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and one during Wednesday.
Mhm.
So this was like non-negotiable for me. I would try to write it in Wednesday morning so that if something at work comes up, I'm still
Mhm.
not caught up. So I don't waste that day. And whatever mocks I write during, let's say, Saturday and Sunday, I used to analyze it during the other days of the weekend and also keep it track. So for LRDA and VRC, there's nothing to keep track, but Quant, you can keep track of, let's say, formula or different type of problem which had come. So I used to keep track of that. Section specific strategy for VRC would be to read as much as you can. By reading, I don't mean the newspapers, but very dense stuff like Aeon essays. Then there's Psychology Today, some Encyclopedia of Philosophy. I wouldn't read like 3,000 word essays, but a significant part of it, like close to 650, 700, which is the ideal cat RC range. So also one thing which I did was I increased my reading speed. So I used to read at around 280 words per minute, and my
Mhm.
target was to read a paragraph, finish it in 2 minutes, and 45 seconds per question. So around in 5 minutes, I would finish an RC. So that was I used to target. So in
Mhm.
around 20 minutes, I'll finish my RC. And I used to like practice only from mocks. I didn't practice anything specifically because para completion and para summary was kind of easy. Only para jumbles, it was like a hit and miss. So I didn't really put in a lot of efforts there.
Okay.
And coming to LRDA, again, mocks was the primary source of practice. And you can practice as much as you can, but still on the D day, you cannot predict how it will go. So my CAT experience was I could solve only one set completely, but the other sets I tried to, use that jugaad. Or I was sure, okay, either it is zero or one or two, like that.
Mhm.
So when you write different mocks, you get an idea. Okay, this is what it is, and luck also favors you. But LRDA, I was not really good at LRDA, so it was like a weak session. My idea was to solve one set or two set or be slightly above the cutoff so that I comfortably clear it.
Mhm.
And coming to quant, I had extensively practiced quant, and that is one section which I believe you can score like anything if you are thoroughly practicing. There's no limit. The other two sections, there's like a plateau beyond which you can't really move. So quant, the more you practice, the higher the chance of like getting a really high score on the detail. So, and you will know how to solve questions faster. So that was my overall strategy for CAT.
Okay, and let's say you didn't score good in some of the mocks. So what was
Yeah.
your strategy then?
So again, either it would be like very simple mistake like spending a lot of time on one set in the DLR, let's say suppose,
Mm-hmm.
or like that sunk cost fallacy comes up, right? So after 8 minutes, you still want to solve, but again, timer is running up. You think, okay, it will get solved in next few minutes. Or there will be some mocks which are given by providers just to test your patience or just to expose you to that difficult situation. So some mocks will be like extremely tough. So don't be disheartened by that. It is just one out of the, let's say, 30 or 40 mocks or how many ever mocks which you write.
Mm-hmm.
And again, similarly with let's say DLR or sorry, VRC, sometimes there will be very dense passages. Sometimes it might not, in the actual cat, it might not come like that dense language, but nevertheless, they just give it to, prepare you for the worst case scenario. So what I would suggest is just to, if you scored very pathetic marks, just take a break for 2, 3 days. Don't write any more. Just analyze your old marks and then come
Move
back
on.
again and write. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Results came 99.8 plus, and the journey started for GDPI, right? For all
Yeah.
other because you were sure that you'll be getting calls from ABC and all.
Yeah.
Calls came. Was your preparation when you joined CATway? You must have had some anticipation that okay, these are the things that I'll be gaining from the institute, right? From the
Yeah.
student's perspective, how did you find the culture of CATway, the genuine one?
Yeah, so first I would start with how I ended up in CATway. So after, like you said, after the response sheet came, the predictors were showing really high percentile, and I was sure I'll get the calls whichever I wanted. And then I talked to many people, so a lot of them told CATway suggested because one thing that struck me was CATway provided unlimited interviews, and I heard a lot of word of mouth reviews about CATway and not just any advertisements. So I was pretty sure if like a lot of people are giving good reviews, there will be something which is good. And coming to the culture, I was like really impressed by how it's not like a sir giving us certain things and asking us to study. It was like everybody were contributing whatever they could. Like people used to send current affairs articles, and we used to even have debates on topics on in the WhatsApp group. So even if let's say one is not actively preparing, just going through those messages would make one have a any idea about like okay what is happening, what are the current affairs is happening, and some let's say your own view about it. So oftentimes what happens is interviews are not directly asking you what has happened. They will ask like why it happened or what is your take on it, how will it affect. So they want your critical thinking skills. So going through those messages or going through such discussion would give you different perspective. So that was like really helpful. And I still remember I had called you multiple times. We sat together for around 1 hour to prepare the IIM Bangalore SOP. So you are someone who is like very dedicated, and even the mentors. I would say I had like all type of interviews: stress interview, easy interview, long interview, short interview, and some interview which even went beyond 45 minutes. That was like even longer than any of my interviews. So they use it as different aspects, and I would say around 90-95% of what could be asked to me or based on my profile were mostly covered in all the mock interviews which I had. So that is something which really helped.
Perfect. So on that basis, if I'll ask you to rate CATway on a scale of 10.
I would say test extremely satisfied with
All right,
whatever
thank
I
you
got.
so much. So from NIT Calicut to IIM Bangalore, after converting Bangalore, Calcutta, Lucknow, and FMS, changing brands definitely a big yes for all other aspirants. What next, Vignesh?
So again, during the preparation, I wanted to get into management consulting, like in any top firm. But after going through all these processes and also after talking to a lot of alumni and current batch, what I understood is go with an open mind, like be open to exploring other areas, or let's say instead of going with a rigid mindset that I want to get into consulting, be open to exploring marketing or operations or finance or whatever you, because what people told me is this 2 years is going to transform you a lot. So it's better to have like an open mindset and be adaptable and then realize okay where your passion lies or what you are interested in and do that. So I have that kind of a mindset now.
So, Vignesh, one final question. As soon as you saw, and Bangalore was your dream college, the way you
Yeah,
mentioned in all the mock interviews and the conversation that we had. Once you
yeah,
got a convert from IIM Bangalore, that mail, what were
yeah.
the emotions at that point?
Yeah, I still remember I was like constantly checking to the groups because IIM Ahmedabad result had come just a week before and I couldn't make it. So again, I was not extremely disappointed with it because Bangalore was always where I wanted to go. But again, so there was a time because 15th was my last day at work. I had resigned on March 30th and I had an immediate release. So I did not have a job, but at the same time, I was scared whether I'll be rejected by Bangalore also. So but when the mail popped up, I was like extremely happy and I couldn't do anything. I still remember I just took the screenshot and sent it in the group to you. So immediately that's what I did. So extremely happy because after all the efforts, multiple attempts, very happy
I
that
can sense
finally it
that.
happened.
Yeah. Congratulations for that once again, right? For all
Yeah,
the
thank
efforts
you.
that you
Thank
have
you
put
so
in
much.
for these 4 years. It matters a lot to be consistent for the final 4 years or something on that front. So good job done. Now, anything apart from all these that you would love to pass on to the fellow aspirants of CAT 26?
I would say be consistent in your approach. Don't, let's say, skip any day, I would say. So if you had a schedule of studying around 2 hours per day, give the 2 hours. If you have, let's say, a job in the afternoon, then make sure you study in the morning because, let's say, if work gets late, it might extend a lot and you'll be tired by that time and you just want to sleep. So if you hadn't studied in the morning, then your entire day is gone. Or if you have like a morning shift, then maybe study in the evening. So whatever schedule you make, just stick on to it and be consistent in your efforts. I've seen a lot of people give up by the time of October or September just because the mocks were getting tough. And that is like particularly made to expose you to different scenarios because every year, like cat is unpredictable. They throw curveballs every year. So just take the mocks as not your final result, but something which, to experience the actual exam scenario. So be consistent, work hard towards your goal. Don't be distracted. Don't pay heed to what others say, saying your profile won't get you anywhere. You won't get this call, that call. Don't be so much engaged in the profile evaluation calls and just focus on maximizing your
Good point.
percentile because anyway you'll get at least one of the top 5 calls if you have like a really high percentile. So that would
True.
be my advice to the aspirants.
Okay. So congratulations once again and all the best for your future endeavors, Vignesh. CATway is
Yeah,
really proud to have students like you. All the best for future.
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.